So for people that are just tuning in, right? First of all, welcome. Got my first guest, Courtney G. Steven.
Holla at you, boy.
Not Stevens, not Steffens. Put some respect on that man's name.
Come out the gate correct with it.
Well, we were talking about, so both of us are retired. I've been out of the game for about a year. Courtney, how long has it been for you?
Technically, like 3, but I haven't tackled anybody in 5. So, like, because those 2 years when we were in limbo, right?
Yeah.
So I was technically still a pro athlete training when everybody was in their house, but officially retired on the other side of that thing. So 5 years since my last game.
Was that? So did you retire during COVID?
Yeah, like coming out of COVID in that half season when the first half of the CFL season was delayed, I was under contract. And then in the summer, I was like, look, y'all, I got 2 kids now. I'm about to go start doing something else because I don't want to wait around to see if we're going to play or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my last game was like October 2019.
Damn, it doesn't even feel that long. We were in Calgary together. I remember you were getting ready to have Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Oh, you and Laura.
Firstborn.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I remember that, man. That because I had torn my knee and we were just chilling. Damn.
Big chilling. And the thing was, it was that at that point in time, like my relationship with football changed so much because I was about to have my first kid. I was on a new team for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm in a different province, like kind of solo dolo, but I knew a bunch of people on the team just because the CFL is a small league. And then for whatever like medical reasons, my wife couldn't really travel that much. So I was like away from her while she was having our firstborn. So it was kind of like, this is whack.
Yeah.
And then, you know, football was football. It was what it was. It was like, you know, you play, then you get on a quick flight, go home, try and see the fam for like a day and a half, get on the flight, come right back, and then it's in the grind.
Yeah. And I remember like you had some tough days because obviously Laura, it was her first time like having a kid and like you just wanted to be there. And I remember like just like you were living by yourself, be like, hey, bro, like come pick me up. And like we would just like kick it and kind of talk through some of the things because I was depressed at that time. I had torn my knee. I came into the season like I'm about to kill it. I want to go to the NFL. You were about to have a kid. You couldn't go home.
Yo, you was like you were on Sports Center and stuff like that before the season. Big anticipation for that year. I remember.
Yeah.
You were dunking on dudes, one-handed catches.
Yeah.
You got Moss, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was tough. But I think honestly, like that's why you like the stuff that you hate is the reasons why you love the things that you do because it shows you who you are. It's like not character development, it's character revealing, you know. And so you gotta go to those places sometimes so that, you know, when you're in other situations, you're like, bro, this isn't even stress, yo. You wanna know stress? I've been through stress. Yeah.
The amount of times like you go into some dark places during football, and it's not just like, you know, depression or anxiety. It's like, do I want to do this? Like, how bad do I actually want to, you know, be good at football?
Oh, like training? I remember one time, 2017. So I got married in 2017. I went to Dubai for my honeymoon, and I got crazy sick in Dubai and lost like 17 pounds. And I came back. You know, I took a couple of days off and I got back to training, but like down that much weight and then training like the way we were training. Oh man, every single day I was like ready to pass out, actually ready to like legit pass out. I'm thinking to myself like, how much they pay me for this again? Like, this is hard, bro. But no, you love that though. It's like directly correlated to the amount you're willing to put yourself through is how passionate you are about the thing you're doing, as long as you keep continuing on. And so like, yeah, man, I love that. Like 7 seasons pro, and I trained everywhere from like in my rookie season. I didn't make a lot of money in my rookie season. So like after my rookie year, okay, like came out of college, went home, and then like spent a couple weeks at home and went straight to playing ball. Then that off season, I got a job at Foot Locker, and I didn't even have a whip yet. I used to walk like 20-30 minutes in the snow to Good Life Fitness and train at like 10-11 o'clock at night by myself so I could be in shape if I couldn't like borrow my mom's car. And then the next year after that, then I finally had a whip. And then, you slowly come up. So I went from like training by myself at Good Life to then training with some really elite trainers. I trained with a guy named Andy O'Brien when I was like out in Etobicoke. He's like an NHL guy. He's like sports scientist for like Pittsburgh Penguins and stuff. You called me over like, yo, I'm with this guy training in this basement. I'm like, bro, I'm not going in no one's damn basement.
Yeah, you were so skeptical about it.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Come to find out, that dude is actually like the best trainer in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
And like now he's got children all over the world copying his programs and like following his lead. So then I spent like three or four seasons training with Shay.
Yeah, Shay Pierre. Shout out Pierre's Elite Performance. That's my dog, man. Like, it's crazy just thinking like, 10, 11 years ago, I had just, because here's the thing, like growing up in Canada and playing football, people are like, why are you playing football? You know what I mean? It's like, why aren't you playing basketball? Why aren't you playing hockey? And we didn't have resources. Like the school I went to, Loyola, who they produce talent, myself, Nick Stauskas, Dejan Brissett.
All basketball players. They have like it's a basketball school.
It's a basketball school, and we practiced on a soccer field with potholes in it. And we didn't have a home football field, so we would go play our Friday night lights games at Marcelina's. Right. So fast forward to college, you come back. We were home for like a month
max.
But during that month, you're expected to train and come back to school in shape. Right. Because I had made the mistake one off season of just like sitting around thinking like I'm in shape. You're young. I didn't know what being out of shape was. I was always in shape. But when you show up to college and you're a freshman and the workouts are different, right?
Yeah.
They're hard, but they're hard because it's your first time like in college, right? You're not used to it.
And they're trying to also like, it's like jumping in a cold water where they're trying to like shock your system.
Oh yeah.
So they're giving you a full plate. Like they don't ease you in. They're like, you're going to get this whole entire program.
Yeah. They're trying to weed guys out too.
Yeah.
Because you have the guys that were high on their list. Then you got the guys that weren't so high on their list. I was the last guy that was offered a scholarship in my class. And that class was myself. It was Tommy Lee Lewis. It was AJ Sebastiano at receiver, Jason Meehan, Devo. So we had a decent class. And then you have the walk-on guys.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out the walk-ons. Those guys have heart because I remember dying in the summer in DeKalb, Illinois on that hot turf with Coach Ort and just being like, wait, you guys aren't on scholarship? Like, what's a walk-on?
Yeah, yo, bro, I lived a walk-on life for a year and I tell you like this, those are like going back to the beginning of this story when you're looking at like, is it really worth it when you're dying in a workout?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hold on. We all just died at this 6 o'clock in the morning workout in Dub C in winter conditioning. And because I'm a walk on, you're telling me I don't even get to eat breakfast?
Yo.
I don't even get to eat breakfast.
Yeah, that was crazy. Were you were a walk on for a little bit, right?
Hell yeah. Yo, so I was at Laurier. I actually told this story the other day, and I don't know how many times I told this or if I ever told this of why I actually left Laurier.
Yeah, that was actually something I was probably going to ask you later, but let's do it.
Yo, so long story short, Laurier was amazing. So I went there out of high school where I was trying to go to the NCAA. I had a couple offers. They weren't really like 1A offers. They were like either 1AA schools or the 1A offers were like, we're waiting on this guy.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't commit, then we're going to offer you. And I was like, yo, if I'm not your first choice, I'm not going. So I went to Laurier, played 2 years. First year, second team conference all-star. And I was like, all right. I was kind of upset, but I was like, all right. Second year, it was like first team conference, but second team all Canadian. And I was like, yo, what's up? And then the guy who was the first team, his stats were like not really that good. So I was like, on paper, I'm better than this guy.
Hmm.
On film, I'm better than this guy. But I'm not really getting the love like I feel like I should get. And like I was not I was not like a boastful person or like a cocky person. So like I never really told anybody anything.
Hmm.
But I just got on the phone and I called my brother and I was like, yo, there's a lot of politics out here as far as like recognition goes. So if there was gonna be politics, yo, let's get on the biggest stage possible, bro. I wanna go to NCAA.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, put together your film and um I'll send it to the recruiting coordinator at the school I used to go to because he actually played on the same team with me. And his name was PJ Fleck.
Oh shoot, Coach
Yeah.
Fleck.
Coach Fleck was a receiver. My brother was a DB on those teams with like Coach Novak before we even got there. So
Hmm.
I had already sent like 60 tapes each season from my junior year to like my senior year to all schools in the States, right? So
Yo, so quickly, okay,
go.
for
Yeah.
the new generation, explain what that recruiting process was like.
And like,
There was no huddle.
please.
I don't even was YouTube really a thing?
So let me break this down because I was like the dawn of the YouTube era. So like my very first tape that I did was between the 10th and the ninth grade. Like the summer between the ninth and the 10th grade, I played like city football. I had one game where I had like,
Brampton Bulldogs?
yeah, Brampton Bulldogs against the Markham Raiders. I had 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns as a corner. And that was like when I'm like, yo, we got to do this. So that game tape was actually on a VHS, fam.
Damn.
Believe it or not, that was the year 2004 and it was on a VHS. 2005, my tape was on a DVD. Then 2006, I still had DVDs, but then 2007, I had YouTube. So in a matter of like 3-4 years, it went from VHS to YouTube. And so forget about making highlight tapes. That was one thing that not a lot of people were doing at the time. Like I remember I was watching other people who were my age, like Julio Jones, Noel Devine, AJ Green. These guys are like my
Class.
yeah, like
Or
they would have
around
been
there.
they would have been my same freshman class, I'm pretty sure, in college. They were the only other people that I knew who had like highlight tapes on the internet for real. So anyways, now I have these tapes. What am I supposed to do with them? So I go on each school's website and I would go like Central Michigan in Google, get to their athletic website, go to the staff directory, scroll down, find the recruiting coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the DB coach for every team. I get their email address, and then I get the location of their athletic department, and I put it in a spreadsheet, and then I printed that stuff out and I put it on envelopes. And then I got the DVDs and I put it in the envelopes and I got stamps and I sent that international 60 schools. That's why I only sent it to
Wow.
60 schools because you had to pay, fam. You had to pay for every school you sent it to. Long story short,
You said only 60 schools. Bro, there's like I think 120, 130 football programs in Division I, so you almost send it to like half the
yeah,
schools.
because I'm like, yo, I'm not sending it to California. Like, I won't go out there. I'm not sending it to Texas. Like, I've sent it to everything that was in the Midwest and the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to some like 1 AA schools that I thought that I would might entertain. You know what I'm saying? So like, sent it to all these schools. What I got out of that was like now, mind you, a lot of people get these, so it wasn't nothing special. But it's like I got some camp invites, so you can go to these camps where they're really just gonna get $350 out of you.
Yeah.
So whatever. Long story short is I go to all these camps, I do all this stuff. Didn't go to the States, ended up going to Laurier. Boom. Play 2 years. Pissed. So I'm like, I put this tape together. Tape's still on YouTube to this day. Then send them the tape. They're like, yo, we used all our scholarships, but you could come down as a walk on if you want. You know what I'm saying? So I end up walking on. Now, that was PJ Fleck. PJ Fleck left and went to Rutgers as a wide receiver coach before I even arrived.
Yeah.
So I get there and it's Coach Jerry Kill. He's a head coach and he's like, hey, Canada, we like you, but you know what? After our first semester, what's he do? He leaves and goes to Minnesota and Coach Dorn comes and now he's like, who are you?
Yeah.
He's like, who are you? So I'm like, Coach, we got me. I go in his office. I'm like, look, Coach, My parents mortgaged their house so that I could get the 27 grand US to be here. I'm paying money to be here. I got a 4.0. I work my ass off every single day in the weight room. I'm never going to cause no trouble. All I need is a fair shot to make this team. He's like, look, he said he actually had this little plaque on his desk and it said like perseverance and it had the definition. He's like, yo, if you got this, you got a chance. I'm like, all right, that's all I need.
Bro, Coach Dorn was a real one. He was a real one. He was a straight shooter.
That's all you could ask for, though.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, I can't like be like, oh, I can call him and like, you know, whatever. Like, I don't even know if he remembers offering me a scholarship. You know what I mean? But he did. So I thank you, Coach Dorn, for that.
Yeah.
Anyhow you ever see this. But that word perseverance, like when I think about both of us, to be honest, to where like we came from Canada and we went to the NCAA to play football of all things.
Met in America of all things.
Yeah. You know, because I left at 14, 15 years old to go to high school.
That's crazy.
Right? Everybody was doing that because everybody, that was the way to go when we were kids.
Who put you on to that though? Like, how did you know that going to prep school was a thing?
CIA Bounce, the AAU organization I played for. Everybody was leaving.
So they had kind of like different pipelines to different prep schools?
Honestly, like, yes, at the time, like a lot of the guys were going to Findlay. I think some guys were getting looked at by like Oak Hill and DeMatha and like some of like the bigger schools. Like schools were because we would go down to the US and people would be like, who are these kids from Canada? And we would beat them. Right?
Yeah. Because we could hoop.
Yeah. Like, I mean, every year we have like a first or second round draft pick in Canada. Obviously, you know, the US dominates the NBA draft, but it's like, my AU team was nice. I think everybody played Division I sports. And maybe half the guys actually went to the NBA.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, you know, my boy Naz that was in my wedding, he's in Greece right now, but he was with the Pacers. He was with Utah. Like, you know, that's just one guy right there. And he was on my AU team. I've known him since we were like 11, you know, and, but when I think about that word perseverance, I think about us and like what we had to do to get to where we got to. You sent out 60 tapes
each year
just to get a walk-on spot and you took it. Right.
And then put up 27 grand, bro.
Yeah.
That's a parlay if I ever seen one. How many people, and it wasn't even my money. It was other people put the money up because they seen my body of work and they were like, yo, you know what? Don't even ask us. We're going to tell you what we're going to do for you because we've seen what you did to get to this point to make this opportunity. We're not going to let money stand in the way.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, they believed in you.
It's crazy.
Because, you know, 20 grand is not something to blink at. That's a lot of money.
Shit, 27 US, more like 40, baby.
Yeah. Right now it's probably like 60. You know what I mean? But same as you. I went to Culver and you know, it was a long time, and I don't want to sound like, you know, cocky or anything, but it was like a long time since my coaches had like an athlete like me. Right. And because my senior year, I broke 3 school records.
What were they?
The most receptions in a season, most yards in a season, and most touchdowns in a season. I think I scored every touchdown for my high school team except for one.
Isn't that the Triple Crown? Isn't that what they call that?
I have no clue, but it like the amount of yards wasn't anything crazy, but I had like 15 touchdowns or something like that.
I respect it.
Yeah, you know, some like
some light.
But you know, I made my own tape too.
Yeah.
If you go type in my name on YouTube, the most trash highlight tape you'll probably ever see. And I looked terrible at receiver, but I was just like making plays.
Good enough.
And, you know, same thing for you. Coach Hammock, who's the NIU coach right now.
Yeah.
He came down to NIU and tried me because I played wide receiver and I played 3-4 outside linebacker.
You played defense?
Yes, bro. I was
Yeah,
getting sacks. I was picking the ball off. Yes.
I'd never seen you tackle anything in your life. Well,
I got
because
some
you're
special teams. I got like 4 or 5 tackles from picks and special teams.
okay. I see you. I see you. I see. Yo, timeout. Have you ever seen the highlight tape of Julio Jones tackling people?
Yes.
He,
Yeah.
he's a monster.
Yeah. I mean, how about the stat that Larry Fitzgerald has more tackles than he has drops in his career
Super
as
Hall
a
of
wide
Fame.
receiver?
He could be in the Hall of Fame of Hall of Famers.
For sure.
Yeah.
But don't want to get sidetracked too much because I feel like it's important to kind of talk about the work ethic that you got from football translating into what you do now. And I mean, we didn't get like a full introduction. We just jumped into it, but like explain like what your role is now with Hamilton.
So I'm a senior director of marketing and community partnerships. So that means I am responsible for leading a team of people that is basically the voice of our team online and in person. And we're the face when you come to events, when you see our players places, like we help coordinate that. And ultimately our goal is to create fans, right? Like just create ways for people to become fans or become bigger fans and fill out the stadium. So like if you boil it down, I'm focused on making people really excited about our brand.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say that you mentioned, like what I got from football, I think about this a lot, and this is kind of in that transition out of football thing. It's like football teaches you a lot, but it more so reveals things, and football was just the perfect outlet for my personality. I grew up, I had a like super energetic, but like not, I didn't know how to put it out all the time, like personality and like just a lot of aggression. And football was like a channel. So like football gave me structure to the energy I had. So like, I don't know, I guess football taught me how to temper myself, but I was always going to have a chip.
Yeah.
No matter what, like football didn't put a chip on my shoulder. I was born with that. You know what I mean?
How do you feel football translates to like marketing and the real world, as people would say?
Well, first of all, I think, directly to marketing is that you are what people say about you when you're not in the room. So like whatever you could say all you want, you can put on all the wristbands, you can have all the back plate and the visor and double mouth guards and all that. But like, yo, if you don't make plays, then people are going to say you don't make plays. You know that it's a performance business. So it's like whatever you do for people, like if people hire you so that you can drive revenue, or if people hire you so you can make cool events, or if people hire you so that you can provide X value, if you don't provide that value when you're not in the room, they're like, yo, this guy isn't even that good. How can we get better? And that's how football is, so it's not even necessarily marketing. It's just being a professional.
Yeah.
And always showing up with a plan and being able to deal with the adversity and also being coachable.
Yeah. Dude, I'm a sports performance coach right now.
What's that like?
It's honestly, it's fun. It's a different challenge. But you quickly find out who's coachable and who isn't. And the kids that are typically coachable are the kids that want it. Like they want to go somewhere, and like being in their shoes, it's funny because they think that like I'm so much older than them, and I am, but I can look at them and be like, I remember being your age and just wanting to, be on the field or be on the basketball court or, try to learn something from somebody and just be a student of the game. And then I look back on my career and, it didn't go as planned as far as like injuries and the way things ended, but I really took it seriously. I studied film. Every year my notebook was full. Like even on year 8, my notebook was full of things that I already knew, but I just kept writing it down, kept writing it down. I remember Coach Frizz in college, he told a story about John Lynch, the GM for the 49ers.
Yeah, I know him as the safety for the Denver Broncos of a 47, knocking people out.
Yeah, and he talked about how John Lynch would always have a notebook full, even though he was like one of the best players at the time at his position. Mm-hmm. He always was a student of the game. He was always learning, and he was never complacent. So Coach Frizz told me that like going into my sophomore year, and ever since then, I just always wrote notes, and I would always write them in a way that I could remember them. And there was times in games where I had to play a position that I never repped in practice, but because I studied the film, I listened to the coaches, I wrote down what I had to do, I went in there and I had some of my best games at positions that I never took a rep in.
Yo, that right there is I don't know if it's number one. Everything got to be number one of the takeaways, but understanding a concept and not just the tactic that you're supposed to, or like the route you're supposed to run, or like which guy I'm supposed to cover. Like that's level 1.0.
Yeah.
Like me and my boy Mike Daly.
Shout out Mike Daly.
Shout out Mike Daly, and also Emmanuel Davis. Like the three of us used to, we used to sit next to the three of us used to sit next to each other, and we would legit compete on who had the best notes. To the point, like it was fun because like we're all cerebral about the game. But the point is, you could put us in different situations. Like there was times on the field where say we're supposed to have 12 players, we have only 11 players.
Yeah.
But you can look and you can see who's missing. And it's like, dang, we don't have a field half right now. They're about to throw hot. All right, I'm going to run down there, play field half. We're going to go like some version of cover 0, but I'm going to just play inside shade because I know that the ball's coming out. Like, you know what I'm saying? You understand the concept, then you can reverse engineer the answer to your problems and translate that to business. It's like if someone asks you to, execute an event or to create a graphic, something basic, right? Mm-hmm. You're not just going to say, okay, let me put these words on a picture and call it an Instagram post. You're going to say, if I'm somebody who's viewing this, what am I supposed to be doing after I see this? Yeah. Or what am I supposed to feel? Am I supposed to learn something? What's the key message? Like, what's the objective here? Because then you're understanding the concept and you're not just taking an action and being a robot. Mm-hmm. Like robots are easy to find, but problem solvers are the ones who get paid. And like the bigger problems you can solve, the more you're worth. So you got to understand the concepts of the value that you're providing so that you can actually problem solve.
Yeah. And I to piggyback off that too, like the attention to detail, man, like, sometimes, I've seen things in the business world and, people that are working and it's like, how did you miss that? And I'm, once again, I'm not trying to sound like I know everything because I don't, but just the things that you notice because we were being graded on every single thing that we did, right? The film doesn't lie. You were talking about your performance in business, right? I feel like there's no environment other than maybe the military. Maybe there's other jobs as well where it's like you are constantly being graded, you're constantly being watched, and if you don't live up to the standard of play, if you don't live up to the player that you are, they're finding somebody else to come in for you. Yeah. In 4 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in the pros, it could be 1 year. It could be 1 week.
That was going to say.
One practice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. Like, when I retired, I kind of had a plan of what I was going to do. I had no clue how it was going to go.
Yeah.
But I knew because of my experiences as a pro football player and even going through COVID, and, not having the CFL season, having to figure out life, I was like, I feel like it's not going to be easy, but I think I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew that I was going to skill up and have tools in my tool belt so that I had options. The last thing I wanted to be was somebody who didn't have skills. Because if you have skills, somebody will always pay you to provide that service. So less than having a specific blueprint for what I was going to do, I knew that I was going to be able to have certain skills that were like what I call them rare and valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like a rare skill might be like spinning plates or like juggling knives. Like that's rare. Like not a lot of people could do it, but it's not valuable.
Mm.
So it's like you got to have a rare skill that is valuable, like being able to communicate on a stage or being able to lead a group of people who don't know each other, or be able to take an abstract idea, make it concrete, or take a complex idea, make it simple, or build a framework that people can remember. Like whatever it may be, like you just have to have certain core skills, and then once you have those skills, be able to articulate them so other people can see how they might fit into the problems they're trying to solve, and then you'll always be somebody who people want to hire.
Yeah. And that makes sense, especially when I look back at your career. Like even when you were playing, you were public speaking, you were doing camps. You were doing a lot of stuff, and I was like, why is this guy he's always doing things? And I don't know, like, did you have a plan before you were retiring, or were you just doing that just because?
Yo, so I'll tell you this. The very first day that I signed my rookie contract, I was planning for my retirement, in that like I always have this voice in the back of my head, and now it comes in different ways, but before it always was like, yo, you don't have enough time. Like you don't have enough time. Like, so don't sleep on what you're trying to do, because eventually you're not going to have time. Like playing football, the biggest benefit of playing in the Canadian Football League is not necessarily the money you make, but it's the time flexibility you have, the time freedom you have. And when you have energy and time, you can create a lot of value. When you have energy and time, you can create a lot of value. So that means like you put in sweat equity into different things, and you can test so much, because usually if you have that much money, like a regular career's worth of money, not to say that much, like millions, but say the average person makes $60,000. You know what I'm saying? Like my rookie season, base salary was like less than 50K, but like with bonuses and stuff, it was like 60K, whatever, average. So like, usually to get 60K, you got to work 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. But we were able to get that amount of money, or I should say I was able to get that amount of money working, you know, like 6 hours a day for like 6 months of the year, and then like 4 hours a day for the other 6 months of the year, type of thing, give or take. So like that bought me time to try and fail other things. So it wasn't even that the CFL made me rich. The CFL gave me a chance to develop personally on a level that a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't read 20 books in a year. They don't have time for that.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, our day. I mean, if you were to show up when the first meeting was set, I think it'd be like 8 or 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and that will be your one and only season of football.
Yeah. For sure. Because like I was getting there. I wasn't getting there when the quarterbacks were getting there, because those guys would be there at like 5 a.m. Well, I was getting there at like 6:30, 7 o'clock.
But that's being a pro. Because first you take care of your body. You do your little solo film or your little small group film. Then you get with the team activity.
Yeah. And I always wanted to just be left alone. So like I would go eat breakfast, like put my headphones on, maybe scroll up my phone for a little bit, and then like go hot tub, cold tub, whatever I had to do to get the day started. But yeah, I mean, being a pro, that's what we were doing. Forgot what I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Well, another thing I would say is like, no, I didn't really have a plan, but what I would say is, I wanted to get into finance, actually.
Yeah. See, I remember that because we were talking frequently during that period of time, and you were like talking about how you were studying for so long. And
yeah, I was getting my securities license so that I could do wealth management.
In my head, I was like, and I'll ask you this now: did you really want to do that, or were you just doing that because it was like it was stable?
No, and it's not really even stable for real, because it's like one of the only other jobs where like you can get fired because people are saying, hey, this is my retirement or this is my family's wealth.
Yeah.
I want you to either protect that or grow that, you know, but definitely don't lose that. And so it's a performance industry. I think that that pressure is a privilege too, but I liked it because I'm a big finance nerd, and it's like a entrepreneurial gig, right? Like you might be under the umbrella of a like a company, but like you really got to build your own book of business and go out there and find people and then get them to give you their wealth and allow you to be the shepherd of that. And so that's what I was into. Like, I love that. I'm still big into investing and stuff. I manage my family's money and whatnot. And it's like something that I don't have. It's not a chore to me. Like, I love doing that. Like, I listen to like quarterly earnings calls on my drive. I'm like, that's amazing. I can't believe that Dollarama is growing same store sales by 6% quarter over quarter. That's amazing.
And when people think of football players, they think of us as like these people who don't think. And
they can do that. They can keep doing that.
There are some guys that do that, but
of course,
ever since I've known you, I remember being at NIU my freshman year. I think I was done with class early, and you were at what was the what was the name of that building where the buses used to come through?
Oh, the student center.
Student center, yeah. And I remember seeing you at the student center. We probably talked like a couple of times because like you were the first person that they introduced me to because you were Canadian.
Yeah, like, hey, this guy from Indiana's coming, but we think he's Canadian. Talk to him.
And I remember like walking past you and you were just sitting there reading a book. And I was like, you know, what book is? I came up to you, like, oh, what's up, man? Like, how you doing? Whatever. You're like, basically you started talking about this book, and I'm like, is that for class? You're like, no, I'm just reading it. And I was like, why? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to go take a nap and you're reading a book on your free time. I'm like, this guy's different. And fast forward to where we are now, like I've learned so much from you just like in conversation, or like you sending me articles, or like, yo, you need to check this out, blah, blah. And to that point, you see, I'm pretty sure Bitcoin hit 100K today.
Did it?
I think so.
Oh, Lord.
Let me check my Coinbase quick. Let me see.
I didn't see. I don't be on X like that anymore. I'm out of that era.
It's telling me to update it. Let me see it quick.
Yeah, because it's probably going to do some crazy animation when you open the app.
103,000.
Wow.
And $115.30 USD. And that's like 300,000 Canadian.
Well, yo, I'll tell you this. Why I read books is because in high school, I was really intelligent, but I wasn't a great student. You know what I mean? So I didn't really get the greatest grades. Then I went to my first year of university and I got like 2 Ds first semester because I was like, the study habits were not there. Then when I transferred schools, it was like a clean slate. I had a chance to start over again. I had a lot at stake. I had some, you know, first or second year courses, but it was my 3rd year of experience. So I had a chance to kind of hit the ground running. And I had like 5 consecutive semesters of just like a 4.0 GPA because I learned my learning style. And I also learned that, yo, the teacher at the front of the class is a guide that brings you through this book, but the book is teaching you everything you need to know. Because they're always like, read these chapters before the lectures so you know what we're going to talk about. So once I actually started doing that, I realized that, like, yeah, of course, like teachers are good and formal education is great. But like if there's a topic that is standing between you and what you want, you can go and get that on your own. You don't need nobody to give it to you. You don't. Like I read a book called The Personal MBA. I started a $100,000 business off of that book and a couple other books. Business Model Generation, The E-Myth by Robert Gerber or something like that. And then I read a bunch of like sales books. I read a bunch of just entrepreneurship books. I read a lot of leadership books. And then like, legit off of saving up my per diem when we used to travel and I would go to Subway instead of Ruth Chris or the Keg.
Yeah.
Bought a MacBook and started a company that eventually, like, we had a couple months where we did like 20, 25, 30K in a month. And this is off books that I read. Like I went to school for communication studies, journalism, psychology. Like I didn't learn this.
Hey, me too.
But that's the thing. That's what people got to know, bro. It's like psychology is journalism is, these are the actual skills you need. Communication,
Man,
dealing with people. Like, why do people act like that? Whoa, do you understand that a lot of people, not even a lot of people, every single person walking around here has certain biases which they see the world through, right? But if you understand that, then you can communicate with them better, or position things in front of them in a way that they're going to be ready to accept them better. So like, applying those things is actually how you're successful.
it's true. We had a lot of guys on our team that were like in the business school, and I don't know if they were trying to do it because it sounded good or whatever. Some guys ended up using it. Some guys were like, this is not for me. But I knew from the jump that was not for me.
Yeah, I flunked out business.
I was not doing that. But the thing is from a young age, and because of what my dad went through as an athlete, he played semi-pro basketball. So he was in Europe, and he tore his knee. He had the same exact knee injury that I had, which is wild. I don't know if that's a genetic thing or what, but I'm getting off track. He would always tell me, stay close to sports and you'll be happy. And I never understood what he meant, but I think he saw something in me at a young age that I was like very like analytical when it came to sports. And I, from the time I was young, like I would learn the playbooks and stuff like that. So he knew that like I had a genuine passion for sports. So when I got to college, I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. No. I'm going to go to the business school. No. All right. And then I was like, I'm going to do journalism. Because when I got to NIU, I genuinely did not think that I was going to play professional football. I was like, I'm just going to get my school paid for and that's it.
Really?
Yes. So my freshman year, I was thinking like, I need to have a plan, but I didn't know what I wanted to do until sophomore year. So I originally started as an English major because I knew I could write papers. Like that was something I was good at, was writing. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do that because I wanted to be a journalist. And then I sat down with my guidance counselor and she was like, there's a journalism major, right? And I was like, sign me up for that. That's what I'm doing. We were out in the field. We were finding our own stories. We were shooting our own content, B-roll, matching up our work. I'm learning this in college, right? And then I minored in communications because just like what you said, learning how to speak, learning how to write is valuable. Even now with AI, like it's valuable. And now with my master's program in counseling psychology, when I'm working with a patient, I literally feel like I'm just trying to get to know them, just like if I was going to write a story about them. And that's how I look at it. And it takes so much pressure off of me. And I feel like some of the other students, they're a little bit less comfortable with it, but I'm like, I've been doing this for 10 years.
That's the only way to get good at anything. Like there was a point in time I started this show on Facebook called 22 Live. And I'm talking about, this is like 2017 or 18. It was called 22 Live. I probably did 15 episodes of it. It was a weekly show on Tuesdays. I went live for about half an hour and I had 3 points and I used to just speak on these 3 points. And I did it because I wanted to get better at public speaking, period. It was in a closed Facebook group. There was about like 50 people there. And I just go live to my little, however many of the 50 showed up. And you got to put in the time. You said it was like a certain amount of years you've been doing it. I think that's another thing that football teaches you that you could transfer into other parts of your life and like all sports is that like day to day, you might not even see the progress. Certain times will be a flash, but like after 10 years, if you focus on what you're doing each day and not just go through the motions every day and like be there in your body, but like be present in your mind, like over time, you'll be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
If each day you're like, today I'm going to work on catching the ball away from my body. Every time I catch the ball, I'm going to catch the ball away from my body, all hands, all day today. That's the only one thing I'm working on. I'm not working on. Like I'll do all the other stuff, but when the ball comes, I'm catching the ball, all hands away from my body all day today.
Yeah.
Then it's like the next day, it's like, today I am catching all the jump balls above my head. That's the main thing. I don't care about nothing else, whatever. We'll do the other things, but like that's the one thing, if anything, that I do.
Yeah.
And just have like one thing every day over the years. Come on.
The consistency.
How good you'll be? Yeah. How good will you be if you just get those small little slivers of skills stacked up?
Yeah. And the consistency and that's what I think I've learned the most being retired. Figuring out what this next chapter of my life looks like, and then like doing things and being consistent. You know what I mean? Like because I don't have somebody like grading me on a daily basis, I feel like it's easy for me to like slack off. You know, it could be if I wanted to, right? But because I have that foundation of being like a high level athlete, mentally, I can't let myself do it. You know, so like even like I never wanted to be one of those guys that retires and then like they get out of shape, right? That was just something I didn't want for myself, right? To where it's like people are like, "Oh, you used to play football? What position did you play? O-line?" You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So what I do, I went and I probably did one of the hardest things. I started doing one of the hardest things that I've always wanted to do, but I couldn't do it because of football.
Don't tell me you're running marathons now.
No. I do MMA stuff. Like I do MMA class. I'm in MMA. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
And like these guys are
no knock
different.
on marathons. No knock on marathons.
You'll never see me run like a 5K or anything like that. I cannot.
5K.
I cannot. 5K. I won't run 4 laps around the track. I hate pointless running. That's why I play a fast sport to where I need to go score a touchdown.
I wish I could run a marathon. My knee would explode, but yeah.
But I went and I found the hardest thing that I felt like I could put myself through without like, you know, hurting myself or being dumb. And MMA has been that, like, when they talk about like that dojo, it's fun, man. It's a different experience. And the people that I'm around every day are like, there's just people that are, you know, wanting to be in shape, or there's people that are actually wanting to compete one day.
Yeah.
And the coaches all were pro fighters. Yeah. And they have that pro fighter mentality. So I'm not away from it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm still in it.
There's one thing I would say though, is that like, and this is what a lot of guys, and I mean, honestly, I don't really know to the same level of intimacy, like, cause guys who I've played on the same team with, who I've got to know really personally, like I don't know a lot of girls cause I didn't play with, on the same team as girls. So I'm just talking about the people I know from the teams I've been on. Yo, a lot of them get in a trend of going in the wrong way. And I think there's been times where I was like, yo, forget this. I'm not training. Forget that. I don't care about these things, whatever. I don't even watch sports, whatever. So like, I think the thing to remember is that it's really just one day. Just do one day. You don't have to do every day. You don't have to be your best every day. Like, you can suck at something. Like, you can have a crap workout. It's okay to have a shit workout. Like, legit, it's okay. Tomorrow, just show up better. Yeah. Because, like, there's a point where if you have a couple of bad days in a row, you might as well be like, I'm off this. I'm not even going to do it. I'm not even training anymore. I'm just now one of those guys who used to play. But, like, even if you do that, like myself, I did that for, like, man, I played my first pickup basketball game since 2019 last December. So for anybody who knows, that was December 2023 was the first physical activity I did outside of riding a stationary bike or lifting weights. Yeah. Like, it was the first athletic thing I did, like, 4 years, yo. But then I got back on the horse, so to speak, and like I don't like play sports every day, or not even close. Yeah. But like, I started again, you know? So it's like, I think that's the thing people got to realize, because a lot of people want to jump. Like, a lot of people get off of sports and go down a bad place. You can always, like, you can pick any day and just start again. I knew health-wise that staying active was important for my mental health. I think that's one thing COVID really taught me. And I knew it because during that year, first of all, during COVID, I was coming off a knee injury, and our rehab places were shut down. You couldn't get a massage. You couldn't get chiro. It was crazy. It was madness. And I remember Shay was like, come by. This is when things started opening up more. He was like, come to my
house at 5 a.m.
Bro, I used to go there at 5 a.m.
Like 5 a.m.
in the garage, right?
Yes. And me and him, super out of shape. We're in our house all day. We like are doing a very basic like running workout, some core, some bench, whatever, pull-ups. Bro, I felt like I was gonna throw up.
I did.
But as soon as I felt that runner's high like I've never felt before. And I was like, I need this. So I know if I don't do that mentally, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what could happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's important for me.
When your chest feels like it's burning because you're exhausted from breathing so heavy in a workout, what that is that's rare air. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people even get to feel that sensation, but that's like the doorway you got to walk through to be in peak shape, to look in the mirror and be like, yo, I did this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in college, we took this one picture. I'll have to dig up. I don't have Facebook anymore.
I think I'm in it. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? There was like one day where they made us do this He-Man shit. They're like, yo, everybody, you pick up these chains and these hammers, stand together. Everybody take your shirt off. It's so stupid, right?
It's so dumb.
Like, it's so dumb.
I thought I was D's. I was a little skinny.
Every man's flexing. But I look at that picture, like I don't have Facebook, so I can't see it anymore, but I could see it in my like mind's eye. I'm like, yo, at that point in time in my life, I was doing stuff that like, yo, I knew no matter what room I went in, like I could be confident. It was like, I'm probably ready at a drop of a hat to outwork anybody in this room. Not because like I'm literally faster or stronger than you, but it's just because it's like each day I test myself. And that picture to me represented is like just stacking mad days on top of each other of just like doing something that's crazy hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why whenever I was training, I'd always post like whatever content, I would put like deposits, because you're putting a deposit in every day until, game time comes or that big moment comes and you're ready and you take some of that money out. You take some of that workout. And then what do? You get back to it, you start putting more deposits in till you're ready to, withdraw some money.
That's that cash out theory. I love that.
Yeah. But we've been at it for an hour.
That's crazy.
Which is wild.
Could have gone for 10.
For real. And before I close this thing off, I just want to ask you, what's a piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Advice I would give to my younger self is, yo, you're gonna lose on a lot of the ideas that you have, but even the ideas you lose on are winning ideas. So just keep doing that.
I like that consistency.
Hell yeah, because yo, you gotta lose money to make money, and the amount of times I had a phenomenal idea that I took 80% of the way, and then like a short time after, in the big scheme of things, like I got that light bulb moment of how I could have carried it all the way to the next stage of where it should have been. It's like only in hindsight you can see that, but if I could tell my younger self, like, you're on the right path, but don't doubt yourself. Like, it's going to be so hard that the only thing that makes sense is to quit. But like, sometimes you just got to do things that you can't explain. Like, you're just going to have to keep pounding the stone, bro. And eventually that shit's going to crack and it's all going to work out.
I love that. That's the perfect note to end on. Before we end, do you want to plug anything, any projects, any social media, anything like that?
You can link me on LinkedIn if you want.
All right. Where can they find you?
Oh, man. Courtney Steven. That's it. STEPHEN, baby. That's it.
There we go. I appreciate everybody who tuned in, listened to this episode. If you made it this far, I don't know what this thing is going to end up being, but this is the first thing. And I had a great guest, one of my brothers for life. I appreciate you, my guy. And, we'll stay in touch, all that good stuff.
Appreciate appreciate you having me on this thing, man.
It's too hard. Got bumps outside, he smoking on that moon rock. When you start ballin' niggas, they gon' get crossed, pissed off. And I don't got time for the hate. How do you find time in the day? I'm just tryna make 100 mil.